and video from last night's game that came out, things that Stephanie White had said prior to the broadcast and her substitutions. A lot of people pointing out, by the way, that they're trying to shit on Caitlin Clark for her defense. And I'm like, wait a minute. Raven Johnson got in there for 10 minutes and was gone. Trying to defend the same scenario. By the way, somebody...
The Indiana Fever's blowout loss to the Portland Fire has produced a wave of fallout that extends well beyond the box score. Portland is an expansion team, and the fact that it now holds a better record than Indiana has sharpened the criticism directed at the franchise's leadership. Among the most talked about moments following the game was a post from former Fever head coach Christie Sides. The timing was unmistakable. Sides, who was let go by the Fever after the 2024 season, has now twice used social media in ways that appear to comment on the team's current direction. And this instance landed loudest.
Somebody online pointed out that Raven Johnson never fouled out under Dawn Staley. Dawn Staley. Yikes. Let's start with here. Somebody you guys know I like a lot. I've been on his show. It was a privilege. I've been watching Jason Whitlock for 30 years. This guy has hosted Pardon the Interruption on ESPN.
Observers noted that Sides was fully aware of what Caitlin Clark was capable of. During the second half of the 2024 season, after a rocky 1-9 start to Clark's rookie year, Sides adjusted her approach and handed Clark significant freedom on the floor. The team went on a strong run. The theory circulating now is that Sides may have seen the writing on the wall, that Stephanie White was being brought back and made a deliberate decision to let Clark play freely. Knowing the clock was already running on her tenure on the court, the game itself exposed familiar structural problems.
This guy has hosted Pardon the Interruption on ESPN. Speak for yourself with Colin Cowherd. Kansas City Star. I can remember reading articles 30 years ago. My man wore a fedora on Pardon the Interruption. Jason Whitlock. And I had to put this out there and give it some signal boost because Amber Cox, the COO and general manager of the Fever, has blocked Jason Whitlock.
Stephanie White's defensive switching scheme, which asks the team to swap 1 through 5 on every play, resulted repeatedly in smaller guards being left in the paint against larger opposing players. The broadcast acknowledged this directly. This, noting that opponents had identified the mismatch and were exploiting it. What drew particular criticism was White's publicly stated belief that the team plays faster with Raven Johnson running the offense rather than Clark. Johnson delivered a season-best performance in the prior game, which White cited as evidence of this philosophy. But against Portland, Johnson struggled, and the broader system around her did not compensate.
This guy has worked for the Sporting News. I mean, you name it. Whitlock has done. I mean, he has been on the Jim Rome show, hosting that show when Jim Rome was out. A real bona fide. Some of y'all journalists out there that claim to be journalists, y'all can take some notes because he's not pulling no punches. And the GM.
The point about Raven Johnson and foul trouble also drew attention. Under Dawn Staley with the national team program, Johnson never fouled out. Under White's current system, she has been pulled in situations that suggest the defensive assignments themselves are generating unnecessary foul risk for Johnson and for others. Off the court, Fever COO and general manager Amber Cox blocked veteran sports journalist Jason Whitlock on social media. Whitlock, who has worked across major outlets for roughly 3 decades, had been vocal about the Fever's situation.
And the GM for a major WNBA franchise, the one with the biggest spotlight on it, has blocked Jason Whitlock. Your league's a joke. It's a total and complete joke right there. Jason Whitlock, Amber Cox has blocked me on this app. What are we doing? I mean, what are we doing? This league can handle no criticism. The crash out continues. Guys, you will see Farkas.
The decision to block a journalist of that profile, rather than engage with the criticism, was widely viewed as another indicator that the organization is in a defensive crouch rather than addressing its problems directly. Fan sentiment has visibly shifted. Posts from longtime Clark supporters describing their decision to stop watching games entirely began circulating widely in the hours after the loss. The framing was consistent: a genuine affection for Clark as a player, paired with an unwillingness to continue watching a situation that appears to be working against her. Several noted that the front office has shown no sign of a credible plan to turn things around, and that the combination of poor coaching decisions, questionable officiating, and organizational silence has made the product difficult to follow.
Cast everywhere. On post everywhere, most predominantly on Indiana Fever social media. This is a huge fan of Caitlin Clark, and I have seen this from multiple fans over the last 12 hours. People are throwing in the towel. I actually feel quite free today. My summer schedule is totally freed up. I love you, Caitlin Clark, but I'm looking away.
The ratings picture reflects this. The viewership, which reached extraordinary levels during Clark's first season, has not held at those heights under the current circumstances. The argument being made by a growing number of observers is straightforward. The interest belongs to Clark, and the organization has consistently made decisions that undercut her ability to perform. Until that changes, the audience that showed up for her has little reason to stay. Christie Sides posting a late-night photo from a golf course while the Indiana Fever were being taken apart on the court is either a perfectly timed piece of trolling or a complete coincidence, and the ambiguity is part of what makes it so entertaining to dissect.
But I'm looking away from the car crash. The Indiana Fever have no clue how to retaliate against the entire WNBA and the referees coming after you. I really feel for CC, as I know how competitive you are, but I honestly don't even feel bad about it. The big Angel rematch, not watching. Maybe the highlights might pique my interest, but I doubt the front office has a decent game plan. I can't even picture you on another.
Sides was not a particularly accomplished head coach by most measures. Her tenure at Indiana was marked by improvisation, a coaching style that often appeared to be assembled in real time, and a locker room that was largely indifferent to her authority. She brought in outside speakers to practices. Players reportedly tuned her out. The general read from observers at the time was that the team functioned in spite of her, rather than because of her.
The front office has a decent game plan. I can't even picture you on another team. The league will fail if nothing is done about the current shit. WNBA, Indiana Fever tagged in that. Look, seriously. The Indiana Fever's got a major problem right now. Coach Anderson, another good follow. Stephanie White last night.
When the Fever dismissed her after the 2024 season, it was considered the correct call by almost everyone paying attention. What makes her legacy strange is that she still holds the distinction of being the best head coach Caitlin Clark has had at the professional level.
That being said, we're now in a situation where the Indiana Fever are in a much worse position, and Christie Sides is, I don't know if she's intentionally doing this, but I'm like, I kind of hope she is. I kind of hope she is, because it's one of those things where
whether that was intentional strategy or benign neglect is debatable, but the results spoke for themselves. The fact that Sides has not landed another WNBA job, not even as an assistant, does not exactly build the case for her rehabilitation. No former player offered a public tribute when she was let go. The most generous interpretation of her coaching career is that she eventually stopped standing between her players and what they were capable of doing naturally.
It's one of those things where I hope that she's, being like, aha, fuck you all. You all wanted me gone. It was worse. It was worse. Yeah, she posted this during the game. And by the way, this was a late game. And with it being a late game, she had to, it would have been dark, regardless of where she was in America or Canada.
That is a low bar, but given what has followed, it looks almost visionary in retrospect. Her post during the Fever loss, captioned with something to the effect of it being a hard day to beat, drew immediate attention. The timing made it land as a pointed message, regardless of intent. There is a reasonable argument that she was simply posting about her evening and has no particular interest in what her former team is doing,
regardless of where she was in America or Canada. And look, I'm going to be real. Firing Christie Sides was the right decision. They brought in the wrong coach, but firing Christie Sides is the right decision. Why was it the right decision? Because Christie Sides has not only not got another job, she's not even had another WNBA assistant job. Christie Sides has not even had a WNBA assistant job. I don't think she got a thank you post from a single player. People all joke about it, and they're like, the biggest thing Christie Sides did was keep the locker room 100% because they all hated her. The entire team.
There is an equally reasonable argument that she knew exactly what she was doing. Both readings are plausible, and that tension is what has kept the image circulating. Whatever the motivation, the situation offers a strange kind of symmetry. Sides was pushed out because the organization decided it needed to move in a different direction.
Team hated her. So the locker room vibes were on point because they just didn't listen to her. That is the theory. But at the same time, look, when it comes down to it, it was an experience. But Christie Sides during the game, hard to beat days like this, posting late at night that she's golfing at the same time as the game. I don't know if there's any correlation here. Maybe she doesn't give a flying.
The direction it moved in has produced a record worse than an expansion team. A public falling out between the franchise player and the head coach, declining attendance, and a general manager blocking journalists on social media. If Sides is enjoying any of this from a distance, the reaction is at least understandable, even if the circumstances that produced it are genuinely bad for the team, the player, and the league. The argument for bringing her back is essentially zero. The argument for acknowledging that things have gotten measurably worse since she left is, at this point, fairly hard to dismiss.
Maybe she doesn't give a flying fuck about the Fever. And you would kind of, from the standpoint of a normal human being, you would probably rather that be the case. But I just find it funny. I find this whole situation hilarious. And I feel like, even though she absolutely deserves to be traded or to be fired, if you have been fired from a job and your replacement is getting, or to be fired, if you have been fired from a job and your replacement is getting more hate than you, victory lap on social media. Why not victory lap on social media? Like, it's one of those things. She might as well go and victory lap as much as humanly possible on social media. I'm pretty sure if, like, the last thing when it comes down to it from Christie's side, the last thing she tweeted was "leave it better than you found it." And I didn't even realize, I think somebody else didn't made a video on this, because I typed in Christie sides to see if I could find this post exactly. So I had it bookmarked on Twitter. I opened an image, a new tab, but don't have the original tweet that I found it from. Ben Daniel, I was scrolling through Christie sides. Turns out Ben Daniel may have made a video on it. Not even may have made a video. He said Christie sides trolls fans. Someone said, let's take back Christie sides if she wants. No, made a video. He said Christie sides trolls fans. Someone said, let's take back Christie sides if she wants. No, don't do that. We can joke as much as we want. Like, Christie sides, legitimately, I don't even know what. Is she somebody that is just not I don't even know if she's I don't even know what she does. Like, she's somebody that played decent level basketball. She played decent level basketball. And